Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and I am popping in kind of quickly to show you all an expansion on an idea I had this morning that I posted to my community tab and asked if anybody wanted me to actually do a video of it. And someone said yes, so here I am. And I am going to expand on the idea that I posted this morning a little bit. I think I went down the rabbit hole a little bit, but that's kind of what happens. I wind up getting a little bit creative and coming up with a zillion ideas, and it is what it is. But at least this way, it lets me share some extra ideas with you all this afternoon. So let me go ahead and get things switched over here so you can see what I'll be working with and working on today. These are the scraps from the pop-up crop yesterday where I did the citrus slice. So you can go to the live tab on my channel. If you haven't seen that project yet, you will get the scraps that I'm using today. So if you want to do a citrus slice, you can get some scraps like this, I guess. Or maybe just using your jumbo circle. So here we go. All right, getting things switched over here. Let me get this next thing adjusted here. Hopefully that's not too bright. We do have a lot of sunshine today in New Mexico, which is where I'm located for now. Okay, so this is the picture I posted. It has our index sheet, which I'll show you in a minute because I haven't actually stuck any of these down, with two of our circles. One had that aqua lemon, and the other one has the really fine little, I don't know, I thought they were kind of sunshines, but it does have the lemon print on the back, and the other one has the sunshine on the back of the page. So here's our index sheet from our National Scrapbook Day accessory pack. This is where these papers come from. And basically, this is like a free sheet of cardstock you can work on. And I'm going to do just that, but I'm actually not going to layer these. I actually want to flip this over and go ahead and put this down like this. I've also pulled out one more sheet from our accessory pack. This is the same one with the little aqua stars on the back, which I don't know why that's not focusing. Let's see here. Maybe I need to adjust the light a little bit more too. There you go. Whew. Okay. Some days it's easier than other days. And then this is a sheet of our Island Waters cardstock, which just goes really beautifully with our National Scrapbook Day collection. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with those in just a moment. And then I also did pull in our scrap circle as well, which we could have easily used when I layered in the other piece. You can even do these backwards a little bit and kind of get a little bit of a frame. It's a little bit trickier. It's easier to use this other one underneath this one, but I'm not going to do that either. What can I say? I'm just teasing you all, giving you extra ideas. When you use your jumbo circle, sometimes you want to be frugal and save some of these papers. And that's something I do a lot of in my project recipe mashup. I use up all the scraps because, the things are cost a lot more now. Why not get the most out of your paper that you are purchasing from Creative Memories? And so that's where I like to give you all ideas for that. And sometimes we do cards, sometimes we do journal boxes, sometimes we do borders, sometimes we do off the wall things because that's what comes to me in the time I have to put these projects together. So, but it all seems to work out and come together nicely. Hang on, I've got my papers curling up just a little bit, which is not what we want. So we'll get this set on the top and then come across, come down. There we go. Whew, okay. Almost seemed harder than what it needed to be, but that's kind of when you go live, sometimes what happens. So I just adhered this on for now. I am going to cut some mats from my other sheet, but first I also want to get my other piece on here. And this one is going to become a little bit of a framed piece. So remember, we cut some 1/8 of an inch strips off of this one, and that kind of made it so it's just narrow enough to fit inside. And granted, I wasn't exactly centered, but I'm okay with that on my circle. We're still going to use it as a little bit of a framed piece, and it'll look beautiful with our pictures once we get our pictures in here. And where am I here? Okay, goodness. I know it's not Monday. I definitely had a doozy of a Monday. Oh, that's when I was doing my Painted Garden mashup. That one was a fun one, though. I definitely have got to learn not to schedule those on Monday mornings because I really had a couple issues with that project recipe, but we worked through them and I was able to talk about, hey, if you do this, you can do that. And it all worked out. So, okay, now we have this just really pretty framed with our Island Waters cardstock. And we can take and put this piece in here and kind of also give it an extra frame. And I think that is what I want to do because I also wanted to talk about how you can actually take a larger photo, whether you have like an 8.5 by 11 or just something that has too much noise in it, I guess is the best word. I don't know how a photo has noise, but sometimes when you have a photo, you just have a lot of extra on it. And so what you can do is you can get your cutting mat out, grab out your jumbo circle again, and grab your blue blade, because remember when we cut this piece, this was with the green blade and the red blade. So the red blade goes the closest to our template on either side. The green is the next one out. And then the blue goes the furthest. Of course, not this far. I'm just kind of using my fingers as an example. And so take your blue blade on the inside and cut your photo. And then that will also get framed in here. And I think that would just make a really, really pretty cover page for a nice large photo. And it also uses up a bunch of our scraps from doing our citrus slice as well. Now I am going to grab out my trimmer real quick here because we're going to do the mats where we get 4 4.25 by 6.25 mats from one sheet of paper. And I want to use that on this one because this one is kind of sparse right now. And I'm also going to show you probably what it could look like if you put an actual just regular photo mat in here, but it won't look as good. I think that one actually would really be just striking with a round photo in it. So you want to cut 1.5 inches off, each side of this paper. So 1.5 by 12 first. And we're going to hang on to this because I'm going to show you how to use some of this as well. Turn your paper 1.5 inches again. And let's see if I can get this lined up. Goodness. Maybe I needed to have a little more caffeine at lunch or something. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and put this in. I'm going to turn my trimmer. I have a binder clip ready to go. And I'm going to put my binder clip at 7.25 on my little ruler here, because that's where I want my blade to stop when I'm cutting. And I'm not so great that I can just boop and just do it and have it stop at the right place every time. I know there's some advisors out there that can do it. I am not one of those. Go figure. So our blade housing is 1 inch here. So we know that our blade cuts and it's a tension blade. So you when you press on it, that's when it cuts, and it'll stop. When our housing stops at 7.25, it'll stop. Basically, we're going to stop cutting at 6.25. So I want to line up my paper at 4.25. And let's see if I can actually get myself straightened out on the camera here. There we go. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me and watching. This is part of why sometimes I do some of the recorded things, and you got to be at the top. Okay. It's a good thing I thought of that before I started cutting. Okay. So here we go. So our paper is at 4 1/4. Our blade is going to stop at 6 1/4. So here we go. Done. You see how easy that is? Otherwise, you just really have to pay attention. And I don't know if I have the bandwidth for that right now. So you're going to turn your paper to the left, and you're going to line it up again at 4 1/4. And then we're just going to, you can see, let me hold this up for you. Here's my paper. It's cut. There's my little line on my trimmer. I hope you can see that. Let me get closer even. Hopefully that'll focus. There's the line on the trimmer. There's where my paper was cut. That was the 6 1/4 mark. And I'm going to reline it up because it shifted a little bit as I was angling it, but to show you all, but you can see where it cut exactly down to that 6 1/4. And so now I don't even have to move my blade back up to the top. I can just go back from that spot, and I have my mat ready to go so here's my 0 centering ruler. We're off 1/4 inch, so I can come down, and I know that's exactly 6 1/4. And the 0 is going to 4 1/4 here on the ruler as well. So 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, that's exactly what we want. And now let's do 3 more of those. We're going to continue turning to the left. Here we go. 4 1/4. And there's that one coming off right away. And same size as the one we just did, which is super awesome. I love this technique. There we go. There's our third one. And now our last one just pulls away. So we have 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. We do have this extra little square, which we're probably going to use with one of our embellishments, because look at that. It's just going to frame it perfectly on the You're My Main Squeeze. I can show you real quick, and you can use either side of your paper. It doesn't really matter, although the white doesn't really pop as much as the dark side. But we'll figure that out when the time comes for it. Take your binder clip off and set your trimmers aside. So now I'm going to show you real quick. I'm not actually going to place one of these down because I really do want to do a circle on this one. But you can see where you can fit a 4 1/4 by a 6 1/4 mat onto this. But I'm also going to pull out my corner rounder because I think that's going to be just very complimentary to having the circle and then not having so much of the sharp edge. But I probably could have done also the edges on here as well. But you can see how much nicer that looks just with that lightly rounded edge on it. If my camera will focus for you all, that would be fantastic. Maybe if I hold this other paper in here. There we go. Goodness gracious. Okay. So rounded versus not rounded. And you can see it's just a little bit nicer. It just, adds a little bit to the page a little bit more. So there we go. But we're going to focus more on this other one that used our index sheet because we really need to dress that up a bit more too. And so I really wanted to do, I think, just one on this left side here, and we'll probably cover up that little bit of space there. I'm going to continue to corner around. Okay. And then we can actually, I may even throw in one of our strips, but I know I want to punch one of our strips as well. So let's see what I do here, because I hadn't actually gone through this whole thing because I hadn't actually cut my papers yet, but because I wanted to show you all how to get your 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats out of your single piece of paper, because it's been a while since I've shown that, and I don't know if everybody's seen it. So we can either put this up and put this down and put this up and put this down, but I think that's too much just with the circle. I'm going to leave that over there. This one I think looks better to the left. And I almost like these two kind of following the trail of the circle a bit and following those corners coming up and down. I don't know, that might look too much like a Pac-Man. We'll see. But I do also, no, we're not going to use that side at all. I kind of thought maybe I would include this. We're probably not. Okay. So I pulled out my lemon punch. That's also complement to this collection. Our lemon decorative punch. Here we go. It's in focus. That's fantastic. And we're going to use that on our strip here. Let's see. And I'm going to turn it upside down because I believe it needs to go in this way and not this way. Yep. Needs to go in this way. So that way we get the entire paper punched with a lemon or a lime. And you can see we can even flip those, but I like it dark. I don't know. There's just something about the dark with the light on the paper here. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh, this is the one thing I always try not to do, but also, you know, we were cutting things. So you'll have to put up with my punching a little bit as well here. And then just grab your scissors, cut off those ends, and let's punch some more of these because we'll probably add a couple to our other sheet as well. Actually, this is really interesting because I kind of like the reverse of this too. All right, so bear with me a minute. I'm going to try, let's see. How does that look? What do you all think? That's kind of fun. Adding a couple of our punched out papers as an extra accent as well. I think I might do a third one down here. Shouldn't have cut so off kilter that first time, but I don't think you notice it as much either. And granted, it winds up with a bit of extra lemons. This one can just tuck under here, I think. And that adds just that little bit of extra pop to the page as well. Your pictures are going to pop more once they're on, but I like it. I like this as well. Just adding that little bit of color. Actually, this one probably needs to go over here. So we may leave our other lemons there. Take that one off because we do want to have a little bit of a title here. And like I said, I have this here, my main squeeze. Here comes the sun and the good life. So maybe we'll do the here comes the sun because we do have the sunshine in the paper. The main squeeze does pop as well. I mean, you can see what it looks like with the same paper behind it. And let's go ahead and start putting some of this down on the page because I think that's going to be good for our page. All right. We just have plenty of paper. We're going to punch probably a few more for this other page. But for now, let's just get this first one done. And then that way I can get it off my table and out of my way for finishing up the second one. So just kind of centering this so about 1/8 of an inch of the edge shows here. Grab my parchment board, which is hiding underneath on the corner of my thing here. Yeah, I actually did cut that one too close. I need to punch one. Oh no, here, I did have one more. Okay, repositionable tape. And so cute. And I guess if you really wanted to, well, no, this wouldn't layer right, but I guess it's something you can consider when you're punching if you do want to layer something like that. Just watch which side of the paper you're using and what colors are showing. And you can get that in there. So this is going to go behind here, kind of next to that one. And once we're done with this, you won't even know that we use the index sheet or the title sheet. And just all looks like fun. Okay, this one's going under here just a little bit. And yes, you could use some foam squares. I think I probably will use a foam square on my little title piece embellishment that we're going to add, but not on this part. So we're going to have these from the two corners here. This is coming over. Let's grab this one. Okay, we're ready for these two. Actually, I wonder if you put it in instead. The other one kind of looked a little bit Pac-Man-esque. I don't know if we want to do this way instead, or you could easily turn it and just do a more traditional, I guess, layout as well. But I did like the idea of angling it a bit and kind of following some of our circular lines here. Actually, let's angle it. No, we need to angle it out so we can fit our thing in. Okay, never mind. Ignore me and my creativity here a little bit. Sometimes, like I said, I do wind up just kind of trying a whole bunch of different things just to see what I like best. And that's what you can do too, is figure out what you like best with your scraps on your page as well. Okay, so we can see our shadow there. We're coming over here. There we go. Now this one's going to go in here. And that's using up another scrap. I love it. I should corner around these real quick too. Hang on. Which is okay. I know I put tape on it, but I flipped it so it's not going to stick to my punch. There we go. That looks better. I wonder if we can corner around the embellishment as well. Should we try it? A little bit harder because it's definitely a thicker paper that they use for these, but I like it. I like continuing the rounding of the corners. Let's go ahead and put a foam square underneath that. There we go. Okay. So there we go. That is a great use of scraps. Why is this not sticking down for me? Here we go. Let me just add a little extra tape. I don't like it when things are flopping around either. I went more towards the center and not towards the edge. There we go. All right. So one use of our scraps from yesterday, adding a little bit of one extra sheet and one extra sheet of cardstock. Let me get my other one put together here. And well, like I said, I still think I do want the circular. So this one I will save for another use. I do want this photo in here to be my main focus of this one. And we do have just such a nice little frame on here. You could cut this in half and kind of add going across and down. I think I actually might do that. Give me just one more second here to take a look and see what I've got left in these things here. Maybe add a little sun. Kind of like how Kim did on her. She layered the sunshine with the one with the little yellow dots, and you can easily do that too. What else is here? You make life sweeter. That's cute. That one probably would look good on there. Ah, love it. And that actually goes with our coloring there. Okay, let me grab my trimmer again. Bear with me here. We're going to go at 3/4 of an inch because this is 1.5 by 12, because I think we cut the other one. Yes, we did. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch, and it's easier to use typically the right side of your trimmer, so that way you don't squash your fingers as much, I guess. Okay. Oops, did I not go 3/4? Nope, I went 1/2, didn't I? Okay, well, we're going to do 1/2 inch then. That is okay. That's what I get for not paying as good of attention as I should have, and we'll just go with it. So go to 1/2 inch. You definitely want to hold your paper down. You can use your multi-purpose tool for that. And then this is, I believe, 11.5, but I will double check it. Let's see here. Where's my half? Well, here's 5. 5, and I've got is that a quarter of an inch? Just about a quarter of an inch. So, because we were doing eighths before. So let's try this let's take off a half an inch and hope that we're not taking off too much from this. Actually, let's take off a quarter of an inch and see where we're at. It's always better to start small, right? So there's a quarter. Let's check it and see if this is enough. No, we need to take off about another eighth of an inch. So it's basically 3/8 of an inch, which makes sense because we cut 3 1/8 inch strips. And as to do your eighth of an inch, you need to go from your left cutting lane, which is where your blade is hitting, and then you go to the right set of the dotted lines. Let me check this again, going both ways, and then I'll see about cutting another one. Yep, that was right. The 3/8 worked. And then, oh, this is short over here. Okay, so let's see. This is definitely longer. This is going to be, because we don't want it to be under anyway. So if we do this at 3/8, and then let's do the finger markings. Here we go. What is this? That is 1, 2, 3/4. So now I need 3/4 of an inch. Okay. So let's get this at 3/4 of an inch to go across our page over here. And then I guess we could technically actually, I'm going to probably wind up because I cut a little bit too much off. So let's take this one out. I think I'm going to go on 3 sides. So let me get the 3/8 of an inch again. And then I'll probably just take my scissors for the other one. So 1, 2, and well, 3/8 is going to be hard on our trimmer. So I'm just going to go ahead and do what I did before. I'm going to take 1/8 and then I'm going to take 1/4, just because that is what my brain will let me do right now. So you do, if you can do 3/4 or 3/8, you do that. But it's hard with the trimmer because you have a half here is where your grid line starts. So 3/8 is not ideal on the trimmer. I guess you could do it the other way if you really wanted to. Okay, so we have 2 strips coming down, and then this one coming across. So let's get our 2 going down first. And I will get my board again, my repositionable tape, because let's make things easier on ourselves. So I guess I'm doing a whole lot more than what I originally planned that I thought I was going to do. Now you all know why my live streams are usually a little bit shorter, because usually I have it all planned out. When I do the virtual crops, I am prepared. I've looked at the sketch, I've cut my pieces, and I've plotted it out, and I know what I'm doing. This one is a little bit more freestyle here. Bringing that one down, and in it looks like we do have a little bit of extra underneath here. I'm just going to take my microtip scissors and I'm just going to snip along the border of the bottom of my page there. And then we're going to come across, and I'm basically going to do the same thing. I'm going to trim one end. Maybe I shouldn't be giving away all my secrets, but you know, it's nice to be prepared for some of these things. But this way you also can kind of see my process a little bit here too, as I kind of do things. And some of it is a little bit of trial and error and seeing what looks good and what I like. Okay. So scissors are getting put away. We have a lovely frame on our framed piece. And our photo is going to go here. And then you can decide if you want to add a couple more of these punched out lemons as well. Or if you want to pull in one of these other lemons that's a little bit larger, but I think I actually like this. You make life sweeter. And I think we're just going to go ahead and put this up in the left corner here. All right. And then we'll be done. I think that'll be good. I hope I've given you all some good ideas and tips on what to do with some of your scraps from the pop-up crop yesterday if you decided to do the citrus slice that I made. Here we go. And let me grab another foam square here using one of the larger foam squares. Here you go. All right. There it is. I hope this has given you all some ideas. We do have an extra mat to use for another layout. We have just one little bit of our, we have a couple of tiny scraps from cutting these little frame pieces. I have one little strip here. I have one extra punch out here. And I have my two other lemons I'd punched extra from the other layout, but I feel like it turned out pretty well for using our scraps and giving you some ideas of what you can do with them. I hope this has inspired you and that you like those ideas. Here we go. Here's this other one once again. And that is it for today. Hope we'll see you. I almost said hopefully, and I guess maybe that's kind of where we're at. Maybe somebody's going to want to see something else later, but for now, this is it. I hope you all enjoyed it. Until next time.